Hello and welcome. Look around you, at your desk, your phone, your hands, the hands that have worked, the hands that have toiled. You've been told a story, haven't you? A beautiful, simple, and utterly believable story. It says, work hard, play by the rules, be patient, and eventually you'll be rewarded. It's a formula taught in schools, whispered in churches, and echoed across generations. You've heard it, you've lived it, you've felt the truth of it in your bones. But deep down, in the quietest hours of the night, a different truth whispers back. It says something is wrong. You've seen it. You've felt it. You see the man who wakes up at 4 in the morning to fix power lines, the woman who pulls double shifts at the hospital, the factory worker who stands 10 hours without rest. Why do they live paycheck to paycheck? Why do the hardest working people you know, the most loyal employees, retire with almost nothing? While someone else, less disciplined, less capable, less honest, seems to float, seems to rise, seems to succeed. You've been asking yourself, what am I doing wrong? You blame your choices, you blame your habits, you blame your laziness. But what if I told you were never lazy? What if the game itself was never meant for you to win? This is not a conspiracy. This is design, a structure as old as kingdoms and as modern as your last performance review. It's an architecture of control, built not with violence, not with chains, but with belief. A moral code carefully installed into our minds from childhood. A code that glorifies obedience, that romanticizes suffering, that rewards submission with praise, but never with power. 500 years ago, a man saw this. He named it. He wrote it down. His name was Niccolo Machiavelli. He saw the very foundation of this entire system. He understood that the ruling class doesn't maintain control through force alone. They govern through illusion, by giving the people just enough hope to keep them obedient, but never enough power to become dangerous. Hope becomes the leash, morality becomes the muzzle, and poverty becomes sustainable. Machiavelli didn't just write for princes, he wrote for the rest of us. He saw how power operates, not through fairness, but through structure, not through honesty, but through myth. And what terrified the elite, what they have tried to bury for centuries, was this. Once you see the game, once you realize the rules were written without you in mind, you stop playing like a pawn. This video is not comfortable. It's not polite. It's not meant to inspire. It's meant to expose. It's meant to show you the architecture of control, to name the lie that has kept generations loyal, exhausted, and poor, and to hand you the one thing the system cannot tolerate: clarity. This is a dangerous journey we are beginning. It will challenge everything you think you know about success, about virtue, and about your own life. But it is a necessary journey, because clarity is the beginning of freedom. If what I'm saying resonates with that small whispering voice inside of you, then I invite you to subscribe, to join us as we pull back the curtain on this profound truth. There is so much more to uncover. In the last part, we began to ask a dangerous question. What if the game was never meant for us to win? We introduced the radical idea that poverty isn't a failure of effort, but a consequence of belief. The belief in a system that rewards labor when in fact it rewards leverage. But where did this belief, this myth, come from? The truth is, this isn't just a flaw in capitalism or a glitch in democracy. This is a story as old as faith itself. It's a story woven into the very fabric of our being, through myth, through scripture, and through doctrine. Consider for a moment the ancient story of Job from the Bible. Job was a man who had everything: wealth, family, and health. He was righteous, and yet he lost it all. His suffering was not a consequence of his sin, but a test of his faith. He was told to be patient, to be loyal, to remain virtuous, and that his suffering was noble. And in the end, he was rewarded not just with his old life, but with more than he ever had. It's a powerful story, but what is its core teaching? That you should endure suffering patiently, quietly, because virtue will eventually be rewarded. It teaches that your worth is measured not by what you gain, but by what you sacrifice. It tells the faithful to turn the other cheek, to wait your turn, to swallow your doubt. This is not just morality, this is management. It's a way to keep the masses obedient under the guise of piety. And this is not unique to a single faith. Look at the concept of karma in some Eastern traditions. While karma is a complex idea in its most basic, watered-down form, it is often used to pacify. It teaches that your current circumstances are a result of your past actions, perhaps even from a past life. This can be a beautiful and profound concept, a call to live virtuously, but it can also be a quiet form of control. If you are struggling, if you are poor, the explanation is already built in. It's not the system, it's you, it's your past. So you must work, not to change your station in this life, but to build a better future in the next. Again, the suffering is given meaning, the grind is given a noble purpose. It teaches you to accept your lot and to quietly blame yourself. This is the great work of the powerful throughout history, to take the raw, brutal truth of inequality and wrap it in a story to give it a moral dimension. They don't have to use violence if they can sell you a story. And the most powerful story is this: you're close, you're almost there. Just one more year, one more promotion, one more sacrifice. This is the very essence of the lie. The lie wasn't screamed at you to obey. No banners, no sirens, no threats. The lie was whispered, told gently, repeated often. You heard it in school, in church, in your family. If you work hard, life will reward you. If you just keep grinding, the system will notice. But what if the system was never watching? What if the formula, effort equals reward, was never designed to apply to you? This is where the mythology of consumption enters, because as you grind, as you wait for that promised reward, they offer a temporary escape. Debt. Buy now, pay later. You deserve it. You swipe. You subscribe. You upgrade. You don't earn to live. You earn to repay. You keep moving. You keep owing, not to survive, but to escape the feeling that you are stuck. And it works beautifully. When you're in debt, you can't afford to rebel. When you're exhausted, you don't have time to question. And when you're distracted, you don't even realize who's benefiting from your exhaustion. This is a brutal insight. Labor isn't sacred, it's strategic. And the poor, they are not useless, they are essential. Their exhaustion powers the economy. Their compliance keeps the system stable. Their hope, fueled by false promises, is the lubricant that keeps the machine running. So you keep running on the hope that if you just get to the next rung of the ladder, you will finally be free. But what if that ladder was never meant to reach the top? What if it was built just so you would keep climbing forever? If this is starting to make you uncomfortable, if this feels like it's revealing a hidden truth in your own life, do me a favor. Just take a moment to subscribe. We are in this together, and the deeper we go, the more powerful the revelations will become. Your questions are a sign of your awakening. So please keep them coming and keep watching. So we followed the story from the tired hands of the loyal worker to the ancient texts that teach the nobility of suffering. We've uncovered the machinery that maintains the illusion. We have seen that your poverty isn't a failure of effort. It's a consequence of belief. The belief in a staircase that only leads in a circle. And now you stand at a crossroads. The painful truth is this: your labor is a resource. And those in power, they don't want resources to rise. They want them reliable, exploitable, replaceable, which means your poverty is not a personal failure. It's a consequence of believing in a system that was never meant to be fair. By now, the illusion is cracking. You've worked, you've sacrificed, you've followed the code, and still you're stuck. You begin to ask, was the code ever real? Or was it written by someone who never intended to follow it themselves? This is where Machiavelli enters, not as a villain, not as a cynic, but as one of the few minds who dared to say the quiet part out loud. In his view, the most dangerous idea isn't rebellion, it's realization. Because when you realize your loyalty is being harvested, when you see that your moral effort is used as fuel, not valued as freedom, you stop asking, what am I doing wrong? And you start asking, who benefits from me staying tired, obedient, and underpaid? This is the moment of choice. The choice isn't whether to break the system, not whether to beat it, but whether to keep pretending it was ever built for you at all. Machiavelli wouldn't tell you to burn it down. He'd tell you to stop bowing to it. Because once you know the game is rigged, you don't need to play harder. You need to change your posture. You don't need escape. You need stance. Stop looking for an exit. Start choosing where you stand. You don't need to leave the system, but you do need to leave the illusion that it was ever meant to reward your effort. No one is coming to save you. There is no medal for playing fair, no applause for loyalty. Your kindness is harvested. Your work is directed. Your obedience is flattered, but never liberated. So stop begging the system to love you. Stop waiting for the reward that was never written into your chapter. This isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming conscious. The poorest man isn't the one without money. It's the one who still thinks like someone else, still chasing approval, still asking for permission, still trying to be good by someone else's definition of worth. You don't owe them your logic. You don't owe them your dreams. And you sure as hell don't owe them your silence. You can't change the board, but you can stop believing you were born to be a pawn on it. That alone is freedom. Maybe you still want to play. Maybe you choose to stay in the game. Fine. But know what game you're in and don't ever again confuse movement with meaning. If you choose to play, play by your values. Play with your eyes open. Play knowing exactly what the cost is and who wrote the rules. But if you find deep in your gut that this game no longer deserves you, then stop letting its myths define you. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are not behind. You're just no longer hypnotized. And that makes you dangerous because Machiavelli never wrote for kings. He wrote for those smart enough to know how kings operate and strong enough to decide if they want to serve them or not. So maybe you weren't meant to climb the ladder. Maybe you were meant to walk away from it and write your own definition of enough. You see, you're not poor because you failed. You're poor because you believed. You believed the game was real. You believed the staircase led somewhere. But the staircase doesn't lead to the top. It leads in a circle. And while you climb, they collect. While you wait, they advance. While you sacrifice, they scale. And the most brutal part, they convinced you this was fair. So if you've ever wondered why you kept giving everything and receiving almost nothing in return, maybe the question isn't, what else can I do? Maybe it's, what if the game was never meant for me at all? And if you've come to that realization, not as a moment of despair, but as a line of clarity drawn in the sand, then you already know what to do. You don't need to win the game. You just need to stop bowing to it. And that is where freedom begins.